Stop everything you're doing right now. Before YouTube deletes this video, listen closely. What if I told you that everything you know about death is a lie? Imagine an ancient hidden text that claims to map out exactly what happens the moment you draw your last breath. A text so profound, it doesn't just talk about the afterlife, it guides you through it. But there's a twist. Miss one moment in this journey, and you risk eternal entrapment. Today, you're about to unlock the Tibetan Book of the Dead, a sacred guide crafted over 1,000 years ago, written to take us to the edge of existence and back. Watching this could change everything: how you live, how you die, and what you believe about life itself. But know this: once you see this, there's no going back. Are you ready to confront the ultimate truth? Think about this. Despite all our modern technology, despite all our scientific advancements, one question remains as elusive as ever. What happens after we die? The truth is, we're no closer to understanding it than the people of ancient Tibet. And maybe that's why this book still holds such power, why it still captures imaginations across the world. It dares to answer life's biggest question. Over centuries, this text has drawn the interest of monks, mystics, and even scientists. Why? Because it makes a revolutionary claim. Consciousness doesn't end when our bodies die. Instead, it goes on a journey through unseen realms, each stage offering profound possibilities for liberation or rebirth. But here's where things get even stranger. These ancient descriptions match up with modern accounts of near-death experiences. People who have come back from clinical death often talk about a brilliant light, about meeting spiritual beings, about feeling a profound peace. Could it really be a coincidence? Or are we glimpsing something about the very fabric of consciousness itself? Imagine the shocking realizations of this. What if these teachings could unlock insights into our minds, our awareness, the very essence of who we are? What if studying this ancient text could help us understand the reality we live in and how we perceive it in ways we never thought possible? The potential here is staggering, linking ancient spiritual wisdom with today's cutting-edge explorations of consciousness. But here's the twist. The true power of the Tibetan Book of the Dead isn't just in its description of death. It's what it can teach us about life. By daring us to face death, to understand that everything is temporary, it challenges us to live with a sense of purpose, clarity, and compassion that most of us never fully realize. It's not just a guide for the dying, it's a wake-up call for the living. As you hear this, you might feel a mix of awe and fear. That's exactly the reaction it was meant to provoke. So, I invite you to keep an open mind as we dive deeper. Because to truly understand this ancient wisdom, we need to explore its origins and the visionary master who brought it into the world. Are you ready to meet the extraordinary figure behind this sacred knowledge? Let's begin. What if I told you that the Tibetan Book of the Dead isn't just for the dying? What if it's a roadmap designed for anyone navigating the profound transitions of life? At the heart of this extraordinary teaching lies the concept of the Bardo. In Tibetan Buddhism, a Bardo isn't just a state between death and rebirth. It's any transitional phase where everything familiar dissolves, opening a doorway to profound transformation. Think about it. How many times in your life have you found yourself suspended between what was and what's yet to be? Those moments of uncertainty, those times of change and potential. Each one is a Bardo. Now here's where the Tibetan Book of the Dead, also known as the Bardo Thodol, goes deeper. It reveals not one, but 3 major Bardos, each representing a crucial stage in consciousness, offering unique challenges and opportunities for growth. Are you ready to explore these hidden realms? First, we enter the initial Bardo, the moment of death itself. But don't think of it as an ending. Instead, imagine a blinding flash of pure consciousness, a moment of absolute clarity, where the deepest truths of existence are revealed. Then comes the second Bardo, the Bardo of visions. Picture yourself surrounded by breathtaking visions, both peaceful and terrifying, swirling around you in a divine dance. But here's the twist. These aren't external forces. We will come back to that later. Finally, we enter the third Bardo, the threshold of rebirth. Imagine your consciousness, stripped of the physical, standing at the edge of new life, where every thought, every desire shapes the reality of your next incarnation. And here's where the Tibetan Book of the Dead offers a revolutionary truth. You don't have to wait until death to experience these bardos. Every day of your life contains these transitions, each one an opportunity for spiritual awakening. That sense of disorientation when you're caught between dreams and waking. A mini moment of death. Those rare moments of clarity when you're fully immersed in creating something, time dissolving. You're touching the edge of the bardo of visions. And every time you stand at a life-altering choice, weighing different paths, you're experiencing your own bardo of rebirth. And now, as we stand on the threshold of this ancient wisdom, we're ready to venture even deeper. What actually happens in that pivotal moment when life slips away? Brace yourself, because we're about to step into the heart of the first bardo, the moment of death, where the ultimate opportunity for liberation awaits. Picture this. You're standing on the edge of everything you've ever known. In front of you is a light so brilliant, so all-encompassing, that it seems to hold the secrets of existence itself. Behind you are the echoes of the life you've just left behind, dissolving into a blur. This is the moment of death, the place where Tibetan wisdom and the latest insights from near-death research converge. Are you ready to uncover what lies beyond that dazzling threshold? In this extraordinary instant, Tibetan Buddhism tells us, death is not just a medical event. It's an incredible doorway, a divine threshold leading to liberation or rebirth. Imagine that moment. As your final breath slips away, your heartbeat fades, and your physical senses fall silent. But your consciousness, freed from its earthly bounds, is more alive than ever. This is the gateway to unimaginable possibilities. The ancient texts call this the clear light, a blinding, brilliant radiance that shines as the purest essence of mind itself. This light, Tibetan wisdom teaches, is not an illusion or a comforting hallucination. It's the truest reality, the ultimate nature of everything you've ever known. In this moment, you're given a rare chance to see the universe as it really is, without the filters of everyday life. And here's where the stakes soar. If you can recognize this light as your own true essence, your own awareness, you can achieve ultimate liberation in a single instant. Imagine the possibility, breaking free from the cycle of life and death, attaining a state of absolute freedom beyond anything we can conceive. But this moment is as fleeting as it is powerful. The experience of the clear light lasts only an instant before it fades, and for many, this opportunity slips away like a dream upon waking. Those who are unprepared, who haven't cultivated this awareness in life, may find the light overwhelming, even frightening. Instead of recognizing it as their own nature, they perceive it as an external, unknown force. And with this fear comes retreat, pulling the consciousness deeper into the realms of the bardos, moving away from enlightenment and towards rebirth. Think about the hidden truths of this teaching. It suggests that at the very end of life, in that final instant, you are presented with a last opportunity to reach enlightenment, a chance that is perhaps more powerful than any other moment in existence. It's the ultimate test of awareness, one that even the most advanced spiritual practitioners train their entire lives to face. What if this was something you could prepare for too? What if the final moment of your life didn't have to be marked by fear or confusion, but by clarity and liberation? But here's the incredible truth revealed by Bardo Thodol. This opportunity isn't just reserved for death. Tibetan masters teach that through deep meditation and spiritual practice, you can encounter glimpses of the clear light even in life. These rare moments of transcendence are like training sessions, preparing you to face the ultimate moment of truth with strength and awareness. So, how does one prepare for such a pivotal moment? In life, through mindfulness, meditation, and spiritual practice, you begin to train the mind to recognize the clear light. This is why Tibetan Buddhist practitioners dedicate years, even lifetimes, to mastering the art of awareness. The more you cultivate this practice, the more prepared you'll be to see the clear light for what it truly is in that ultimate moment. Imagine preparing for death not as an act of fear, but as an empowering journey towards divine freedom. Yet for many, the journey doesn't end with the clear light. For those who are not yet ready to fully recognize it, the journey continues into realms of intense and vivid experiences. And here, the mind's projections take on surreal forms, peaceful or terrifying, that reflect our deepest fears, attachments, and desires. Imagine this. You've stepped beyond the light, deeper into the unknown, and now you're standing in what seems like a divine theater. Brilliant figures of radiant beauty and terrifying monsters of unfathomable power surround you. But here's the twist. These beings aren't separate from you. They are projections of your own mind, reflections of every hidden fear, every secret longing, every unhealed wound. This is the second Bardo, the Bardo of visions, a journey through your own subconscious on a scale beyond anything you've experienced. Are you ready to confront the truth about yourself? In this stage, the mind encounters spirits, peaceful and wrathful, that reveal the essence of everything you carry within. The Bardo of visions doesn't simply expose you to beautiful or monstrous visions. It shows you the deepest layers of who you are. Every peaceful deity reflects your highest, most enlightened qualities, while every wrathful deity embodies the parts of yourself you feared or denied. Each figure, every god and demon, is a mirror, asking you, will you recognize these as pieces of your own soul, or will you retreat in fear? Let's start with the calm and gentle spirits. Picture yourself surrounded by luminous beings emanating compassion, wisdom, and boundless peace. You might see figures like the Buddha of infinite light, who embodies the wisdom of pure awareness, or a mirror-like clarity that reflects your mind's potential for perfect balance. Their presence isn't just serene, it's overwhelming, filling you with awe and wonder. But here's the challenge. Can you recognize these beings as reflections of your own mind? Can you embrace them as the purest essence of who you are? If you can, the journey ends here. You've reached liberation. But for many, this divine encounter is too much to bear. The mind, unprepared to recognize its own brilliance, begins to retreat. And as it does, the vision shifts. The gentle light grows darker, the calm faces grow fierce, and now you are surrounded by wrathful spirits, fierce, powerful beings with faces of fire and fury. These terrifying figures aren't enemies, they're manifestations of everything unresolved within you. Anger, fear, envy, attachment. The Supreme, with his many arms and blazing eyes, isn't here to punish you. He's here to force you to confront what you've buried. Can you face these forces without fear? The purpose of these encounters is profound. The second Bardo isn't a test of faith or a punishment. It's an invitation to see the raw truth of your own mind. The Tibetan Book of the Dead teaches that the peaceful and wrathful spirits are like shadows cast by your consciousness, amplifying what's within you. They show you everything that has shaped your life, the attachments, the fears, the unacknowledged desires, laid bare in a way that's impossible to ignore. It's a confrontation with the self that offers a chance to transcend lifetimes of karmic baggage, if only you can face it with awareness. But why should this matter to us now in life? Because what you encounter in this Bardo reflects everything you carry within, right now, every day. These visions are not just for the dead. They are reflections of what lives in you even now, shaping your choices, influencing your actions. The same anger, fear, compassion, and peace within you today are the forces you'll meet in the afterlife. This Bardo challenges you to confront those forces now, while you have the chance to change and transform. What would happen if you began to see every fear, every aspiration in life as one of these deities, here to teach you, to show you what you need to transcend? Psychologists like Carl Jung have drawn striking parallels between these teachings and the nature of the human psyche. Jung saw the gods and demons of the Tibetan Book of the Dead as archetypes within us all, universal figures that symbolize our collective unconscious. He wrote, "Gods and demons are projections of the unconscious, powerful and inescapable until understood as parts of ourselves." This insight reminds us that we are already living with these forces, whether we recognize them or not. They aren't just visions for the afterlife. They're powerful aspects of our everyday consciousness, waiting to be understood. The second Bardo isn't just about facing fear. It's about integrating every part of your mind. Can you look at the darkest parts of yourself and see them with compassion? Can you confront your fears, your anger, your insecurities, without letting them control you? This is the path to liberation, recognizing that all these forces are projections of your mind, reflections of who you are. But there's a warning here too. For those who fail to recognize these beings as their own projections, the experience can be terrifying. The mind, unable to grasp its own nature, becomes trapped in its projections, mistaking its own creations for external threats. It's like being lost in a nightmare of your own making. And this is where the stakes rise even higher. If you don't recognize these projections as your own mind, you risk descending further into cycles of fear, delusion, and rebirth, bound by the very attachments and aversions you couldn't face. The second Bardo is a revelation, an unveiling of the self at its most raw and intense. It's a divine mirror, showing you what lives within. This is a chance, a powerful opportunity to confront and transform, to see yourself without filters, to embrace all parts of your mind. But if you fail to recognize this truth, if you retreat in fear, the journey will only grow darker. So ask yourself, are you ready to see your soul laid bare? Can you face the divine mirror and accept everything that appears? Because the next step plunges even deeper, where choices made here will shape the very nature of your existence. Now imagine you're drifting in a formless sea. The life you knew is gone, yet something pulls you forward, a force as magnetic as gravity, drawing you toward a new reality. You've entered the Bardo of rebirth, the third stage in the journey beyond death. In this realm, your every thought, every unresolved emotion, every karmic imprint becomes the guiding force determining your next life. Your consciousness, stripped bare, is now a magnet, pulling in the elements that will shape your future existence. The stakes couldn't be higher. The next chapter of your soul is about to be written, and it's written by the essence of who you are. This isn't a passive drift through the afterlife. It's an intense, chaotic process of creation. Every choice, every desire, every hidden fear you've carried now comes to the surface, generating the reality that awaits you. In the Bardo of rebirth, there are no filters, no escape. You are both the painter and the canvas, crafting the blueprint for your rebirth. This is the realm where karma takes on tangible form, drawing you toward the life you're destined to enter, based on everything you've done and everything you've yet to resolve. Picture yourself surrounded by a swirl of visions, faces, landscapes, even entire worlds, each a potential path for your soul. These aren't random images. They're the sum total of your inner state. If you've cultivated kindness, self-awareness, and wisdom, the visions may be bright, inviting, leading you toward a life filled with opportunity. But if fear, anger, or attachment dominate, the visions take on a darker, more tumultuous form. Each potential rebirth pulls at you, tugging on the invisible threads of karma, drawing you toward the life you're most aligned with. This isn't a test imposed by some outside force. This is the mirror of your own mind, showing you the culmination of your actions, intentions, and desires. And here's where it gets even more intense. The choices you make in this Bardo, the mental states you cling to, directly influence your rebirth. Your mind becomes a divine compass, aligning with the realm that resonates most with your current state. Imagine the clarity, or lack of it, as a vortex of emotions and memories spins around you, pulling you toward one life or another. Can you find the calm within, the center of clarity that will guide you toward liberation rather than entrapment? Or will you be swept away by your own unresolved karma, bound for another cycle of birth and death? Now consider this. The visions you encounter in the Bardo of rebirth aren't just distant images. They are doorways, portals into realms that vibrate with the energy of your mind. Each vision reflects the intensity of the emotions you've carried in life, the fears, attachments, and aspirations that you may have left unresolved. It's like a reel of all your lives, a cinematic glimpse into possible futures, each a reflection of the karmic weight you carry. And at the center of each doorway lies a question. Will you walk through, or will you step back, seeing the path with awareness and intention? This bardo holds a stark truth. You don't consciously choose a new life in the way you might pick out a new pair of shoes. It's your accumulated karma, every action, thought, and intention that acts like a gravitational force, guiding you toward a life that matches your soul's current frequency. And while your conscious mind may not be steering, there remains a glimmer of choice, a sliver of control. If you can maintain clarity, a calm awareness, you might still influence the outcome. If you can remain detached, recognizing every vision as a product of your mind, you might transcend the pull altogether. In Tibetan Buddhism, this process isn't just about an afterlife belief. It's a reminder of how our actions matter now, in this life. What if every act of kindness you perform, every moment of mindfulness, is shaping not just this life, but countless lives to come? The third bardo forces us to confront a profound truth. We are constantly creating the karma that will shape our soul's journey. Our lives are interconnected, each decision rippling forward, affecting not just today, but eternity. But here's a question. If you're trapped in patterns of fear, anger, or attachment, how do you break free? Tibetan Buddhism teaches that through mindfulness, meditation, and conscious living, you can transform the very energy that propels you forward. It's not just about trying to be good or avoiding bad actions. It's about understanding your mind deeply, seeing the root causes of your actions, and addressing them with clarity. The more awareness you bring to each thought, the less likely you are to be swept up in the turbulent currents of the bardo of rebirth when the time comes. The bardo of rebirth teaches that karma isn't a punishment or a reward. It's simply a law of the universe, a reflection of our own minds projected onto the fabric of reality. In this sense, every moment of awareness you cultivate in life is a step toward liberation, a way to guide yourself toward a future of wisdom and clarity. This third bardo reveals the ultimate lesson. The power of your mind to create reality isn't confined to life or death. It's a process happening every second, shaped by every choice you make. As you let these ideas sink in, ask yourself, how much of your current life is shaped by unconscious patterns? How often do you act out of fear or habit rather than intention? The bardo of rebirth reminds us that ultimately, every moment is a chance to influence the destiny of our souls. And here's the burning question. If you could change the course of your next life, right now, what would you choose? And how will you begin creating it at this very moment? Imagine preparing for death as if it's the most important journey you'll ever take. Not a dreaded end, but a profound opportunity for transformation. This isn't just a poetic idea. It's a core practice in Tibetan Buddhism. They see life as a training ground, where every thought, every action, every breath prepares you for that ultimate transition. What if you could learn to navigate death with the same skill and awareness as living? What if every moment of mindfulness was training for your soul's greatest adventure? Think about it. Tibetan Buddhism offers a set of practices that guide not just the dying, but the living, helping them develop the clarity, fearlessness, and compassion needed to face the unknown. One of the most powerful of these practices is called consciousness transference. Picture yourself, at the moment of death, aiming your mind like an arrow toward enlightenment. Consciousness transference isn't about fear or clinging to life. It's about consciously directing your awareness beyond this world, even as you're letting go of it. Could this ancient technique be the key to achieving peace and freedom, no matter how life unfolds? And here's where it gets practical. Picture starting each day with a meditation on impermanence. The simple awareness that life is precious and fleeting changes everything. It makes each moment more vivid, every choice more intentional. It's as if you're training yourself to see life from the perspective of eternity. What if, instead of dreading the end, you approached each day as a rare opportunity to grow, love, and experience fully? Tibetan Buddhists believe this daily reminder of impermanence creates a powerful resilience and clarity. So when that final moment comes, you're prepared, calm, and ready to release. Another essential practice is Tonglen. a Tibetan technique for cultivating compassion. Imagine breathing in the suffering of others, then breathing out love and healing in return. It sounds simple, but it's a radical way to expand your heart and dissolve self-centeredness. This practice isn't just about making you a kinder person. It's about breaking down the barriers between yourself and others, seeing the interconnectedness of all beings. In Tibetan Buddhism, developing compassion isn't a nice-to-have. It's essential for navigating the bardos because, when facing the visions of the afterlife, a heart that's attuned to love and understanding can transform fear into liberation. Consider the role of mantras, ancient sound vibrations chanted for thousands of years. These aren't just words, they're frequencies that align your mind with higher states of awareness. Imagine the calm, the focus, that comes from repeating these sacred syllables, each one training your consciousness for the transitions of the bardo. Think of them as divine tuning forks, harmonizing your mind with the rhythms of the universe. Tibetan Buddhists use mantras to prepare for death, yes, but also to live with more intention, to connect deeply with the present moment. By practicing mantras daily, you're building mental habits that help you face both life and death with clarity and fearlessness. Now let's zoom out and see the big picture. These Tibetan practices are more than just spiritual exercises. They're tools for reshaping your entire outlook on life. When you start to see each moment as precious, each action as significant, everything changes. Petty concerns fall away, replaced by a sense of purpose and focus. And that's the real power of preparing for death while living. You're no longer at the mercy of fear or uncertainty. You're empowered, calm, and ready, knowing that whatever comes next, you have the tools to face it with grace. Imagine if our society adopted even a fraction of this approach. Instead of hiding from the reality of death, we could embrace it, learning from it, allowing it to inform how we live. Tibetan Buddhists see death as a great teacher, a motivator to live more fully, more courageously. It's not about avoiding death, but living so consciously that death becomes a natural part of the journey. Could embracing this philosophy lead to a life of less fear and greater joy? What if facing death was the key to unlocking true freedom in life? These practices aren't reserved for monks in remote monasteries. They're available to anyone willing to see life as a preparation for something greater. So why wait? Start today. Embrace these practices and let them transform not just your end, but every single moment leading up to it. The ultimate question remains: how will you prepare for this journey? And how will it change the way you live your life right now? Tell me in the comments below. Imagine this. You're lying on your deathbed, surrounded by loved ones. But instead of silence or vague reassurances, a sacred voice begins to guide you, whispering the secrets of a journey no one else can see. These aren't just words. They're a powerful map through the afterlife, offering direction, purpose, and the chance to break free from the endless cycle of rebirth. This isn't fiction. It's the transformative experience of using the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Bardo Thodol, as a tool for conscious dying. Picture the scene in Tibetan monasteries for a moment. As someone approaches death, a lama, a spiritual guide who has spent years mastering these teachings, sits beside them. This lama reads from the Bardo Thodol, describing in vivid detail the stages the soul will encounter after leaving the body. These words aren't just comforting whispers, they're an orientation for the soul, guiding it through realms most people can only imagine. This tradition takes end-of-life care to an entirely different dimension, treating death not as a tragedy, but as the most profound transition of all. Contrast this approach with what we often see in modern settings, where death is typically met with fear or avoidance, managed clinically, and rarely spoken about openly. In Tibetan Buddhism, however, death is a meticulously prepared journey. The Bardo Thodol acts like a spiritual compass, helping the soul navigate through visions of blinding lights, serene deities, and fierce demons, all the intense projections that arise in the afterlife. But here's the incredible twist. These visions aren't external beings or otherworldly punishments. They are reflections of the mind itself, mirrors of your own inner world. Can you imagine having a guide who helps you recognize this and stay calm, centered, and aware through the most intense experiences of existence? The Bardo Thodol isn't just a script read at the bedside. It's a roadmap to recognize the illusions that arise in the transition. It's an instruction manual for seeing beyond these illusions and realizing the true nature of your own consciousness. As the clear light of awareness shines in that first Bardo, your guide gently encourages you to merge with it, to see it as your own essence. Imagine the impact of having such guidance, steering you toward liberation rather than another cycle of rebirth. This teaching suggests that death isn't just an ending, it's an unparalleled chance for enlightenment. And what about the role of the guide in all this? Think of them as a trusted navigator, helping you steer through uncharted waters. This guide, well versed in the teachings of the bardos, becomes an anchor, reminding you of the wisdom you cultivated in life. They're there to ground you in the midst of overwhelming visions, gently redirecting your focus to the clear light, the pure awareness beyond all illusion. This is one of the deepest expressions of compassion in Tibetan culture. Someone walking beside you, bridging worlds, offering direction when you're on the edge of the unknown. Now consider the instructions that the dying person receives. They're told not to fear the radiant light that emerges as consciousness begins to detach from the physical body. Instead, they're encouraged to embrace it, to recognize it as the very essence of mind. Every step of the journey is explained, from the peaceful deities that embody compassion to the wrathful figures that reflect hidden fears and desires. Imagine how different your experience of death might be if you were prepared to face each one, not as a threat, but as an opportunity for insight and liberation. Think about how this contrasts with Western practices, where dying is often treated purely as a medical process. In Tibetan Buddhism, it's understood that death is as much a spiritual journey as it is a physical one. This view challenges us to reimagine our approach to end-of-life care. Imagine the peace of knowing that death is not a fearful plunge into the unknown, but a guided journey toward understanding your own consciousness. The Tibetan Book of the Dead isn't only a text, it's a companion, offering guidance as the boundaries of life and death dissolve. But you may be asking, can these ancient teachings really apply to my life in the modern world? Here's the transformative truth. Understanding death's mysteries isn't reserved for Tibetan monks. Anyone can benefit from the lessons of the Bardo Thodol by living with more intention, practicing mindfulness, and seeing life as preparation for this final journey. What if, instead of avoiding the thought of death, you embraced it as a teacher? Imagine how it would feel to live each day knowing you're ready for the moment when everything changes, confident that you can face whatever comes next with clarity and courage. As we step further into the teachings of the Bardo Thodol, let this ancient wisdom serve as a reminder that life and death are intertwined. By learning to die consciously, we're learning to live with an open heart and fearless awareness. So ask yourself, how would it change you to approach each day as preparation for the ultimate journey? How might you live if you knew you were ready to meet death, not with fear, but with understanding, with acceptance, and with profound inner peace? What if I told you that by embracing death, you could unlock a life of deeper purpose, clarity, and even joy? Imagine living each day with the profound awareness that every breath might be your last. How might that change your choices, your relationships, and the way you see the world? The Tibetan Book of the Dead isn't just a guide for the dying. It's a radical roadmap for how to live with true freedom and presence. In our modern world, death is often seen as a taboo, something to be avoided and feared. But what if this very avoidance is holding us back from a life of authenticity and depth? The wisdom of the Tibetan Book of the Dead invites us to face mortality head-on, using it not as a source of fear, but as a powerful tool for transformation. In the face of death, every petty concern falls away, leaving only what truly matters. Imagine approaching life's changes, big or small, with the same presence and awareness that Tibetan monks bring to the moment of death. Every breakup, every job loss, every period of uncertainty, these are all mini-deaths or transitions called bardos in Tibetan teachings. What if instead of feeling lost or overwhelmed, you saw each of these moments as a gateway to rebirth and growth? This is the essence of the Tibetan wisdom. Every transition, every ending, is a beginning in disguise. But how do we bring this awareness into our daily lives? Let's start with a simple but profound practice: meditating on impermanence. Tibetan practitioners begin each day reminding themselves of the fleeting nature of life, a powerful way to focus on what truly matters. Picture waking up each morning with the awareness that today is a precious gift, that every moment counts. This shift in perspective can be nothing short of life-changing. Another powerful practice is called exchange of energy. Here's how it works. With every breath, you imagine taking in the pain and suffering of others, and as you exhale, you send out love and healing. This simple exercise not only transforms your own heart, but also prepares you for the ultimate act of letting go when the time comes. Imagine the freedom of living with an open heart, connected to the suffering and joy of all beings around you. And what about the practice of recognizing the clear light of awareness? Tibetan teachings encourage us to see beyond the noise of daily life, to recognize moments of clarity and insight as glimpses of a deeper reality. Every time you pause, every time you feel present in a way that feels timeless and boundless, you're touching the same awareness described in the Bardo of death. Imagine carrying this calm, centered awareness through your daily tasks, your interactions, even your challenges. How might it change the way you react, the way you live? Consider what would happen if you treated each encounter, each task, each breath, as if it were your last. Relationships deepen, petty conflicts lose their grip, and you start to feel the vastness of each moment. By embracing these teachings, you're not just preparing for the end of life, you're transforming how you live right now. It's a shift from merely existing to living with purpose, clarity, and courage. Think about the profound liberation in this mindset. By learning to die consciously, you learn to live more fully. The Tibetan Book of the Dead offers us this radical invitation to live with the same intensity, the same awareness that we bring to our final moments. What if, by facing your fears of death, you unlocked a life filled with meaning and beauty beyond anything you'd ever imagined? As you contemplate these teachings, a final question arises. How can you take this ancient wisdom and apply it to every decision, every interaction, every breath? How might your life transform if you saw every day as an opportunity for awakening, a chance to live as if this were your last day on earth? Get ready, because we're about to explore how this timeless wisdom can become your ultimate guide, not just to dying, but to living with a passion and purpose that defies all fear. Imagine for a moment that an ancient Tibetan text, over 1,000 years old, might hold the key to some of the most pressing questions in modern science. What is consciousness? Can the mind truly transcend death? And if so, what might that mean for how we live today? This isn't some mystical fantasy. It's a reality that's drawing scientists, psychologists, and philosophers to study the Tibetan Book of the Dead with an intensity they once reserved for microscopes and lab results. And here's where things get truly revolutionary. If the Tibetan Book of the Dead was right all along, if consciousness truly can transcend the body, what might that mean for how we approach life? We're only beginning to grasp the possibilities, but one thing is clear. The more we learn about these death states, the more we realize they're not just about dying. They're about accessing deeper layers of our own awareness, right here, right now. Imagine living with a profound understanding that death is not an ending, but a transformative journey into the mind's deepest realms. In contemplating these connections, we find ourselves at the frontier of human understanding, where ancient spiritual traditions and cutting-edge science are converging to reveal the mysteries of consciousness. As we stand on this precipice, the Tibetan Book of the Dead offers us a unique invitation to see our lives, our minds, and our ultimate journey in a whole new light. Are you ready to explore what happens when ancient wisdom and modern science meet? Because what you discover might just change everything you thought you knew about life, death, and the nature of reality. Consider this profound revelation. Death, far from being the end, is our greatest teacher in the art of living. As we've journeyed through the wisdom of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, we've uncovered timeless truths that transcend cultural and religious boundaries. This ancient text challenges us to confront our own mortality, not with fear, but with courage and curiosity. Imagine approaching each day as if it were your last, with the awareness that every moment is precious and fleeting. How would this shift your priorities? How might it transform your relationships? Drop it in the comments below. As Trungpa Rinpoche wisely stated, the whole thing is based on another way of looking at the psychological picture of ourselves in terms of a practical meditative situation. This perspective offers a radical shift in how we view both life and death. By embracing the teachings of the Bardos, we can navigate life's transitions with greater ease and clarity, recognizing each change as a mini-death and rebirth. This journey into the unknown is just the beginning. If you're ready to go even deeper, ready to question everything you think you know about who you truly are, then don't miss out on our recent video called "You Are Not Human, You Are Human." If you want to keep exploring these mysteries with us, drop a yes in the comments. Let me know what hidden truths you want to uncover next. And remember, your thoughts shape the journey here. You're not just a viewer, you're part of the Philosophical Essence family. Together, let's unlock the mysteries that matter. Keep shining your light.